What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Risk Valor. I'm your host, Alyssa, and this is a platform where it is completely uncensored. As you know, women say whatever the fuck they want. We're here to inspire you, to empower you, and to help you be your truest self, to reach your highest potential. And today, I am happy to have a very new friend of mine that I met from TikTok, Andrea, who is absolutely awesome, unapologetically yourself, and is about to unload a bunch of knowledge on us. So, Angio, welcome.
It's a lot of pressure. I don't know how much knowledge I have. It's a lot.
I know. So it was funny how we met with the social media world. I mean, a lot of us meet people this way now. It's completely normal. It's the norm. And so someone had sent me a video of yours that was actually the one that I posted on my social medias.
Well,
And I was like, yeah, I was like, how have I not seen like this person before? Because it follows along with the conservative views, but also just calling the bullshit, the anti-woke, you can say. So you can tell us a little bit about that. I want to say it's your most viral video.
yeah, so that one hit 1.9 million, which
Yeah.
is crazy. So a lot of people said that, well, we didn't see you on conservative talk. I was always there, but my videos
Yeah.
weren't hitting conservative talk, because I knew I had to have a platform that would invite people from all walks of life to get them to listen to me. And I always wanted to bring together the political parties and show gay people that it's okay to be conservative
Yeah.
and conservatives that gay people aren't scary. Not
Yeah.
all of them. So, and in order to do that, I knew I had to have a certain following. So I got, I built my following over the last year. Had a lot of gay people on my following, which was great, a lot of friends. And because of that, I was mostly on lesbian talk, which is a great place to be. I love it over there. And so I finally hit conservative talk. And it was so wild to me because the build up to this event of this video was that I've had women over the last year when I put on my dating profile conservative
Yeah.
match me just to tell me, I just wanted to tell you you're trash and then unmatch me. I had a woman a few months ago, talked for a week, everything was great. She was talking
Yeah.
about coming to Florida and she said, wow, tickets should be free because nobody wants to be there. And I said, I do.
A
I
lot
want
of
to be
people
here.
do.
And she said, oh, but you don't support DeSantis, do you? And I said, absolutely. Woman no longer wanted to have anything to do with me, told me it was a humanitarian issue. We're done. She liked everything about me, but I support DeSantis. I had a lengthy conversation
Wow.
with her and lost what I could have had. So that was the build up to this TikTok. And
Hmm.
then I had received like a hate comment and I kind of did a little thing back. And then I really don't even remember what I did. The original comment was because my mother made a joke about how I should date men. And I made a joke back and someone said, oh, that makes sense. It's how you were raised. That's why you think that way. And I got so mad and I was waiting for my little brother to wake up. I was just sitting on the front porch at a job interview that day.
Yeah.
And I got so mad because I thought, like, y'all are really delusioned. Like, you really think there's nothing wrong with you and nobody can have a problem with your behavior unless it's an outside factor, unless they were raised with hatred, they were raised opposing views, which I grew up Democratic. So I just let the camera roll and I did it in one take. And then I think like I went to a job interview, I came back and it was like 200,000. I was like, what? Like, that's so weird. People like me. I ended up on conservative talk.
That's awesome. I mean, and it first of all, like standing on your ground, and the fact that it took one take is because it was coming from like inside of you. It's not like you had to think about this and script it out like a lot of things are scripted in social media. And so because you're being yourself and people can see that, like I saw it in the TikTok and I was like, oh my God, I'm following this person. And then you reached out and I was like, hell yeah, let's get you on the podcast, let's get you out there. Which is really cool. But I can imagine handling like how are you navigating the negativity that comes your way? Because I'm sure it's like probably a lot more than the positive, which is an unfortunate thing. And that could be wrong, but I have no idea.
It's always been hard. I think that TikTok has shown me that, wow, there really are people that think this way, and it's not just a select few, there's a giant group. And that's coming from Christians who say we can't believe you're gay, some of them, and now liberals. And I had another viral video that I won't speak on, but in that video, people said, wow, I really wanted to stand up for this injustice you suffered, but then I realized you were conservative. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't deserve to, have justice because I'm conservative. That's great. So it's brought to light how some people can be. I've had some moments where I've turned off comments and then I turn them right back on because when you turn off comments, your video is not getting views. And I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to start a discussion and I want those videos to get views. And I want to do it for people that really can't take the burden of these comments.
Yeah.
Because I can handle it. And I really did some deep thinking and I look at it like this. If someone says something bad about me, right? Like I have a Reddit thread about me. They said my hair looks like pelican hair, whatever that means.
What? If anything, I think pelican, like.
Yeah. So if that comment upsets me and I lose sleep or I cry or I call my sisters, and why are they so mean? Why did it upset me? Did it upset me because it's true? And if it's true, can I change that about myself? And then that empowers me. If I can't change it about myself, then why be upset? And if it upset me, but it's not true, well, then that's really easy to get over because it's not true anyway. That's someone's perception of me.
Yeah. And that's a powerful place to be. And the fact that you have that differentiation. And I was talking to someone else recently who's like huge on TikTok as well. She has like over 900K followers and she was on reality TV and she had a viral video back whenever. And she's super cool, but she was like, the hate comments are unbelievable. Just because as soon as you start putting yourself out there and you have a voice and you have a platform, it's like all of a sudden these people, these trolls who are just like weirdos who hate themselves and are insecure in their basement somewhere, those are the ones coming out to attack you because they're unwilling to have, like, the only voice that they have is the voice of negativity because they lack perspective.
Yeah. I was doxxed. I was going to be on another show, a YouTube show, very small channel, very liberal, but they were interested in having my diverse opinion. The bio that I sent to them had my picture and just said, Andrea is a Christian conservative lesbian woman who's come to fame on TikTok for
Yep.
speaking out against the gay community. And that's all it said. There was no context, just, hey, this person's going to be on our show. And they got a lot of hate comments on their website and, hey, I'm going to unfollow you. Cool, no big deal, roll with the punches. The day of the shoot, posted on my TikTok story and almost immediately had a spam account dox me, put out my most recent address, my full name, say they were calling the police. And I didn't say anything hateful. I just said, this is who I am and I'm going to be on this show. And the show pulled it. They didn't have me on the show. They said it was a safety concern and we're going to talk about it in the future. And if that's not oppression, then I don't know what is. Because I'm not one to be like, I'm oppressed and I'm oppressed for being gay. I've never, ever been oppressed for being gay, but I've been oppressed over and over for being a conservative and being a Christian.
And isn't that amazing? Because the woke methodology is that you're oppressed because you're different, or you have to be because we have to stick together to be mad about something.
Yeah. And they've literally told me when I've said in the comments, look at you being inclusive, good inclusive language. And they've said, oh, we don't include conservatives. That meant everybody but you.
It's like a walking oxymoron.
Yeah.
It makes
And
no
it's like,
fucking sense.
I like the political views that I have. I feel strongly where I am, and I like girls.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I do understand why that's radical. I understand why people see it as radical, and that's because, let's open this up, right?
Yeah.
Things like the Don't Say Gay bill. And I'm about to put a TikTok out about that because that is one that gets me every time that a lot of people on the left say, how could you vote for someone who would pass such a hateful bill? And at first glance, I also was like, this feels icky. And I read the bill and I read it again and again and again. I probably read it once a week to refresh myself. The bill is actually called the Parental Rights and Education Act. It does not say the word gay one time, does not allude to any special parties. What it says currently is that we are not allowing sexual education of any nature officially in an official context to children to the age of 3rd grade, and they want to expand it to 12th grade. It does not say that you can't come in on a Monday and say, I had a great weekend with my wife, that you'll be immediately fired. That's not in the bill. The bill says that we do not want formal sexual education being taught to minors.
Yeah, and the fact that people think it says don't say gay, like someone obviously of power or status started that because they know no one's going to open it up except for people like you, people that actually have a brain in their head to like research themselves. They just immediately think, oh my God, that's horrible. You go on the boardwalk in California and say, "Oh my God, what about the Don't Say Gay bill?" They're like, "Oh, it's the worst thing ever." Have you ever read it? Does it say it?
It's
How many times
marketing.
does it say it? Yeah.
And so much of politics is marketing. And
Yep.
that's so much of what's going on right now is like, and TikTok is this 30-second clip, 60-second clip, and it's easy to get news and not tell what's fake and what's real or what's satire.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, oh, I heard it and it's true, which is funny because we used to make fun of our parents for doing that on Facebook. And now we're doing it on TikTok. And
It's
it's
true.
marketing. And the left markets to people who are vulnerable. Of
Yep.
course they do. Those are the people that need a place to go, need to feel accepted, and those are the people who aren't going to look too closely because, oh, Grandpa Joe said I'm accepted here. Grandpa Joe stood on the White House lawn and said he loves all of us, not like that mean Trump guy or that mean DeSantis guy. So I don't care what the policies are. He seems like a nice guy who's willing to accept me when my parents didn't.
Yeah. And that's a very true comparison to what's happening. And it's honestly scary that people don't want to look into it because, like you said, on social media, it's just short clips and you can't differentiate between satire. I've seen some where I'm like, I can't tell if this person's serious. Like I sent you one today. Obviously, she was serious about the guns, and she's like, fact, fact, fact. I'm like, where are these facts coming from?
That one guy.
Absolutely zero facts. But she said,
Mousetrap News. Okay, I
yeah,
posted a thing about furries coming to Disney. It was from Mousetrap News, which is a satire site. I did not offer context. I said, I'm gonna let y'all sort this one out. And a lot of conservatives were upset in my comments. And how could they do that? Disney's not actually having a furry day. But if you didn't do your research, you would think that's true.
yeah, I
I mean,
know.
they're doing some other things that we don't love if we want to open the Disney debate, which I
The
don't understand
Disney
why so
thing?
many people are upset that DeSantis is taking on Disney. Because, like,
I'm sorry if you know
you have
anything
to pay
about
your
the,
taxes.
yeah. And I'm saying if you even
You're
heard a little
dumb.
bit about the children's stuff, let's talk about, that. Like I think that's a big one that's I'm sorry, it's catered toward children, but also how about these adults that are having children parties, let's say,
Yeah. And
you
we go
know?
back to who's susceptible, who's going to buy this product, who's going to eat it up. Rainbows are colorful, they're cute, they're sparkly. You can be who you want to be. Kids eat that up because they don't know the difference. And where I'm at as a parent is like, okay, I'm not for entire government control, I'm for
Yeah.
smaller government. But where do we draw a line and say, okay, y'all aren't doing the job to protect kids, so we got to start voting to do that without overstepping?
And it's kind of scary that it's becoming kids that are the target for a lot of different groups of people. And I would say there was literally, I just watched a video with the trans group of people saying, "Watch out," or "We're coming for your kids," or something was the last part of their little chant. I have to find that video and send it to you. I just saw it this morning. One of my customers, I live in a very conservative like town. Um, so they were looking through some things and so I was like, oh my God, like they were chanting whatever, everyone has their chants and like, cool, do your little parades. Like, I don't care. I don't lose sleep. But like you do what you want to do with your life. I don't care. However, when you say something about we're coming for your kids, why? Why is that what you're targeting?
And
Let,
when I've called them out on that and said, this isn't cool, they said, well, it's not all of us. I agree it's not all of you, but can we
yeah,
acknowledge it's some of you? And then they switch it to, well, what about the church? And I've literally said, listen, I'm a Christian and I agree some icky things happen in the church. I've never
yeah,
denied that. I don't know if I want to send my kid to sleepaway camp with the church. I really am debating. Like, I don't
yeah,
know these people. I don't care which group it's with. Adults can be creepy.
mm-hmm,
But
yeah,
right now, because it's June, we're talking about gay grooming. And y'all loved that during Black Lives Matter because we said all lives matter. And you said, no, right now we're talking about Black lives. So I'm going to do the same thing and say in the month of June, we're talking about gay people and pride. And drag queen bills are on the ballot and things like that, trans bills. So next month, we can talk about churches. And if something comes up and you want to DM me and show me where a church has harmed a child, and I'm sure it's happening, I'll stitch the hell out of that. And I'll say the same thing next month.
yeah. And that's the thing is I think what we're trying to shed light on is the fact that there's shitty people of all colors, races, backgrounds, sexual orientation. And the fact that our country as a whole, the people are the ones segregating. They're the ones creating the division. It's not the party
Yep.
of people. It's these like weird leaders within them that are just
And I'm
causing
looking at
this
like this
ruckus.
too, because I'm like, okay, like y'all keep just really screaming at me in my comments and everywhere. We should be able to bring kids. We want to bring kids. We want to bring kids. Flip the script, okay? I had a spicy account, and I look at you and say, show your kids my spicy account. It's not that bad. I mean, I'm mostly wearing clothes. You would be appalled, ask to see my hard drive, and probably call the police. Now, I'm not saying that all prides are spicy or inappropriate, but I'm saying it's a weird thing that y'all are begging to have your and other children present. Why are you so upset about it? Just say, yeah, okay, let's choose a different battle. But this is the one that you're really like, please bring them. Bring your kids. I want to hang out with them. Bring your kids to a drag reading. No.
No. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. Why do you want to read books to kids? Read books to other trans people. I don't know.
It's weird, right? And like,
it's very weird.
In the church, if they did the same thing, I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, that's what people say. Well, your kid doesn't have a choice to listen about God. Well, he does. And if he ever says he doesn't want to go to church, absolutely, man, you don't have to go. But there's a vast difference. And this is what I always tell people, because my pastor isn't on a pulpit on a stripper pole and a thong. And I can do my due diligence and not let my child be alone with the pastor just in case, or any adult.
Yeah.
But I'm also not going to bring him somewhere where someone's actively like,
yeah, well, actively like bring your kids, like, and that's the thing is like, as a parent, I think it's heightened for me, that I care so much about it because it freaks me out. I'm like, even though I'm in Texas, like, you don't know where, like, weird people are everywhere, again, of all backgrounds. It doesn't matter who. Every time there's an Amber Alert or something, I'm like, shit, because in Texas, like, I know for damn sure we're like, there's parts close to Mexico. I mean, there's like trafficking happening within our own country, but we're sending money over other places.
Happens in Mexico statistically, because then they say, well, that's racist. Well, no, but statistically, it's happening. It's happening other places too, but we're talking about America, and a giant portion of our traffic comes from Mexico.
Yeah, and some of it happens here too. Yeah.
I actually went to St. Pete Pride over the weekend. It's my first Pride. It's an experience.
Say the least.
Y'all people make me want to go back in the closet. I was in traffic for an hour and a half, and like, I never saw so many Subarus, Jeeps. There was no in between. You either had a Subaru, like a hybrid, or a Jeep. And like, coexist stickers everywhere. There's just a pasture of coexist and vegan. And I just was looking around going, what is that? What is that? Oh God. Why did they rainbow paint that Dalmatian? That is animal abuse. That's indoctrination. That thing never had a chance. You don't know what his orientation is.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's wild.
There were kids all over. And at one point, I actually ended up hanging out with a group of pretty cool gay men. I'll give people credit that I met some really dope souls there that were pretty accepting and willing to talk to me. And these gay guys were very cool, and they were older. But like, a little girl who was about 7 went to pick up some beads from the parade, which, okay, I'll take my kid to a parade, whatever. And the gay man behind her said, keep those because they'll be gold when you're older. And the mom was like, oh, haha, that's so funny. And I'm like, let me see your hard drive.
Yeah.
Why would you say that to a baby?
What is wrong? Like, I don't get it. It's like almost like a sexual fascination, and like but with young kids that don't even like haven't even fucking hit puberty.
Because they want so hard to be accepted that they want everyone to accept them and to force that on people. And oh well, we want to be accepted by everyone, and so teach your kids to love us extra hard so they'll never hate us extra hard.
It's so crazy to me because you like treat everyone the way you want to be treated. All the things you learn like growing up, it's like, can we just let like kids be kids? Because I don't want them, like, I don't want my kid growing up too fast and learn. I'm not ready for that talk yet. I'm like, and now it's like, it used to be the birds and the bees. Now it's the birds and the birds and the birds and the bees and the bees and the bees that want to be birds and the birds that want to be bees. And it's like, I don't even know where to start. I'm like, whatever.
Did you see the TikTok I made over the weekend of the girl with horns?
The girl with horns. How did I not see that? No.
So I was interviewing people at Pride, and I interviewed some normal looking people too, to be fair, and those videos are coming, and I had some good responses. I'll post. But I saw this girl and I was like, that's it. That's the one. I was like, would you mind answering some questions for my TikTok? Just so you know, it's political TikTok. I'm going to ask you some political things. She was like, yeah. And I was like, camera
Yes.
rolling. So I had asked her a question and then cut. And then as a follow-up to that question, she said something absolutely disturbing. And I said, would you mind repeating that so I can put it on TikTok? And she was like, yeah, I guess. Okay, so you know, it's going on the internet, rolling. And she said, I believe that all children at birth should receive puberty blockers. That way we can eradicate gender entirely. And if we never have gender, then kids will never be sexually assaulted because they'll never experience puberty. And we wouldn't have been sexually assaulted as children if we had never experienced puberty. And it's really weird that we want kids to have a sex drive anyway. So if all babies were given puberty blockers, they would never be horny, thus eradicating child sexual assault.
Ay, Dios mío. I like honestly, what the fuck? But not just that, it's like now we're not going to have a future of which I know we're trying to depopulate the earth. That's another thing on the agenda. But it's like, is that how we're going to do it? Because no one's going to be having babies anymore.
Yeah.
That like, because if you don't have a drive, you're not probably going to, reproduce either.
And if you receive puberty blockers at birth, like you're gonna have a I don't know. I don't know how that would
What
work. I don't really know.
happens at birth? Like, excuse me, like how is that? Yeah, like how is that even sound? And where did that idea come from? Like I wonder if that was just like she woke up from a dream and was like, this is a great idea. But I'm like, that's the first time I've heard that. Like
And to
at
debunk
birth.
that myth for all the people that tell me, well, puberty blockers don't do permanent harm and they're reversible. If you do the research, there are so many side effects, and I've considered being on Anavar, testosterone for the gym, taking Anavar, and even looking into that. It will permanently alter my body. Not in the way of people taking testosterone to transition would, but there would be some serious side effects and changes to my body. We don't have enough research on what this is doing to kids, for one, but the research we have isn't good. And then people say, well, at least they're not doing gender surgery. Boston Children's Hospital boasts that they were the first in the country and are still currently performing gender affirming surgery on minors with a consenting adult.
And like as an adult and as a parent, I'm like, how can you eat? A child doesn't even know what they want for dinner. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I wanted, okay, if I did everything I said I wanted to be when I was a baby, I would be a bus driver right now. I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a bus driver when I'm older. Why the fuck do I want to be? I don't know. Then I wanted to swim with
Yeah,
dolphins. I wanted to train dolphins. I'm like, neither of those things. I don't want no fishes swimming at me like
no.
whales and stuff. I'm like, no, it changes. So I think even thinking that you want to like, there's a video of me, a home video, when I was like maybe 5 years old. I had pigtails on and little plastic high heels. And I was like, my mom's like, oh, you're such a pretty girl in the video. I was like, no, I'm a boy. Like just being a kid. Like, I don't know why I
They
said
have
that. Yeah.
Gays Against Groomers has shirts and hats that say "Save the Tomboys."
Save the tomboys? Really?
For save the girls that said, "Hey, I want to be a boy," and didn't get to transition, weren't allowed to. And
Wow.
really, I'm gonna really kind of upset people a lot here, but it's a
Yeah.
mental health issue. And
Hmm.
me personally, I have mental health issues. I know that. I've been diagnosed with a few things. I'm working on it, but I'm not blind to that. Did that have a play in my sexuality? I mean, probably not. But it's interesting to me because I've been looking up the statistics because I'm like, some of these people aren't normal. Like they can't be, right? Some of them statistically. So when you go to an ER in the United States, they take your data. No matter what you're there for, they take your data, they put it in a giant sheet, and they use that to track things forever or whatever. In 2022, the amount of adults that were admitted to the ER for any reason, we don't know why they were there, with the pre-existing condition borderline personality disorder, 5%.
Wow.
5% of adults were admitted to the emergency room in the United States in 2022 with borderline personality disorder. Transgenders, transgender people, people outside of their gender, non-binary, whatever,
Yeah.
40% had been previously diagnosed with borderline personality disorder.
Wow. And that's like, I mean, and that's something I see a lot now too, is just there's a lot more attention on I want to just say mental awareness, period. Because I think a lot of us have like freaking issues. We're human at the end of the day. But I think for something drastic like that, like, yeah, there's got to be something, up. But I also think there's a part of it that's not persuaded, but it's cool to be different, which being different is cool. Being yourself is cool. But like to the extreme, like doing that just to appease someone else and then not be happier after that change it begs the question of like, was it really for you?
There's an African American TikToker I like, and I think his username, I hope I'm getting this right, is your dog's best friend. It's somewhere along those lines.
Okay.
Or he's just changed it to Wolf something. I wish I knew. I'll send you his link when I find it.
Yeah.
But he has said, we were done with segregation just about. Like, whether it's women's rights, whether it's black against white, whether it's LGBTQ and straight people, we had almost gotten rid of segregation. Things were pretty equal. And people didn't like that. They wanted to bring segregation back. So you have a certain amount of African American people, a certain amount of LGBTQ people, whoever is oppressed now that wasn't oppressed, they were really on their way out of being oppressed and said, I still want to be oppressed. I still want to be special. Look at me, look at me. And if you're not exactly like me and don't agree with my lifestyle, then you're hateful, you're a bigot. I get called a bigot and a fascist all the time. I'm still not even sure what fascist is. And a great example of that is a conversation that I had to have with HR at a previous company.
Yeah.
My friends, who I adore, one was transgender, one was non-binary. I called my non-binary friend they, them. I'm respectful. Doesn't bother me a bit. However, one man in the company did not wish to do that and instead wanted to use both of their names. They would corner him at work, berate him, ask him if he believed in more than two genders, and when he said no, would call him a bigot, every name in the book, and just corner this man physically. And I was witnessing it. And I stood up to HR and said something needs to be done because this man is being bullied, and he's afraid to stand out because he's an African American man who's new to this company. I have a voice. I'm LGBTQ. I respect these people, but they cannot force someone else to go against their beliefs. He's being respectful, and he's not going out of his way to make them feel uncomfortable. And HR had a meeting with me. Yeah. HR had a meeting with me and those people and said, your rights do not trump that man's rights. You don't get to make him feel uncomfortable so that you can be comfortable. And if the tables were turned and he was bullying you in some way, we'd be sitting here with him, but we're not. And you're now on notice for bullying because you cannot force people to cater to you. And that is the company standpoint.
And see, I really like that when I heard, because I know we talked about that on the phone one day, and I was happy to hear that there are people still, sticking on the fact that we can't have one person's rights don't trump another's, one person's point of view doesn't. If you're not going out of your way to be hateful and an ass, then there shouldn't be an issue. They're making it a thing. We don't have to make everything a thing. Fetch will never be a thing. Mean Girls reference
on Wednesdays.
Yeah. You can't sit with us.
And my mother, and I'm never going to come out and say my mother's a bigot or she's hateful. My mother's trying, and she loves me very, very much. She did the best she could with 5 kids, and I was a difficult kid. I'm a difficult adult. But a prime example is that I called my Christian mother and said, hey, I want to do some merch for my merch store. By the way, merch link in bio.
Oh, yeah. You're going to give you the shout outs.
I said, I want to do some stuff for my merch store. You went to school for graphic design. I'd love to put some money in your pocket. Would you design for me? And I think one of those designs was not that kind of gay, and it was going to have a little hand, not that kind of. And she said, respectfully, please don't be upset with me. She said, but I'm not comfortable with that. I love you. I support you. I'll tell people to buy from you, but I'm not comfortable designing something like that. And I said, okay, I love you a lot. I appreciate you. I'll come to you with something else if I have it. And now I am free to go to someone who isn't bothered by it. My mother has her freedoms protected, her freedom to say, I'm not interested in that. And no one is telling me that I'm not allowed to do this. If someone said, hey, you're not allowed to get married, I'd be upset. But all they're saying is a pastor doesn't have to marry you, and you can still do it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's the beauty of where we live and what we believe in is the fact that you can be like, yeah, it's cool. It doesn't matter. Just like Chick-fil-A doesn't open on a Sunday because of, Christianity. It's like, who cares?
I love me some hate chicken. I mean, I'm pescatarian now, but I used to love me some hate chicken.
I hate chicken. Their fries are good too. I'm just saying that sauce, everything. Anyways, I'm going to think about chicken now. Damn. Okay,
But yeah,
I'm gonna
that's what kills me is all these people, saying like, well, they're taking our rights, and they can't really
yeah.
name a right that has been taken because I'm pretty free.
Yeah, and I mean that's again a beautiful thing and also just ignorance. We live in a sea of ignorance. And as much as I would love to say there's a lot of amazingly smart people, it's just I see stupidity every day. Just stupid shit. Like the thing I sent you today. I was like, why? Why is this on my page? Why am I seeing this? I don't want to see this trash. Like
It's almost like some of them are being extra radical and
too
extra
much.
colorful, and like they're trying to get people to, hey, look at me, hey, look at me. Why? Why do we're looking at you and you don't like it?
Why can't we just coexist? Why can't I like coexist with our differing views? That's what's beautiful about the world is like we're supposed to have perspective. It would be so boring if all of us believed the same things and looked the same and acted the same and did all the same things. Like that's like conversation would be nothing because be like, oh, how was your day? Great, like cool. Everything would be copacetic, and it's just not like that. That's boring. Like just let's coexist. Like don't preach coexisting if you can't handle the fact that someone thinks a different way than you. Doesn't mean
So
they
I
hate
was
you.
actually approached by several people,
Yeah.
which is also why I keep my videos up and keep doing what I do, who said, we agree with you and you would never know that, but we want to tell you privately and we can't, for whatever reason, speak out. But we agree with you. And I'm like, really? Like, I followed you forever. I didn't know you believe how I do. And one of them said, my person goes to a prestigious college and has been told, shown, I don't know, that if they admit they're a conservative, that they will flunk classes. So we cannot come out with our views or agree with you or share your stuff even too much until my person graduates because they have to pretend to be a liberal to pass classes.
That absolutely blows my it's disgusting is what it is. That I mean, based on your views, which is, your right, your, protected rights. Like that's just crazy to me. I mean, I've heard it everywhere though, teachers. I mean, there's so with the age of social media, there's kids in like high school sharing videos of like their teachers going on rants, like rampages about whatever thing, especially when Trump was going like, at the end of his term, there was so much hate happening and so much stuff being uncovered that was just bullshit. If you do your own research, it's like, well, if we're holding him to the standard, why are we not doing that with our current sitting president, his
Yeah, let's
kid?
talk about Hunter Biden and his missing
Like,
laptop
I'm
because I've been on that
sorry.
soapbox.
Yeah, and I mean that's one that still blows my mind. It does and it doesn't because it's for thee but not for me. And it's,
And most conservatives believe, at least I do, if Trump did something wrong in or out of office, hold him accountable.
yeah,
Absolutely. We're for justice for all. That's the Constitution. But then also hold someone else accountable. If you can prove he did it and you're being fair and he's been brought to a court of law and you're not making it up, I will be the first to admit that, yeah, he's done some sus things. Like, let's look into that. But then let's also look into the other half.
everyone
And let's
else.
look into the common man, the non politician, because you have to pay your taxes. And that's the issue with Disney right now. You cannot be your own government and then use city resources. You didn't pay for that. You don't get to walk out of the store with goods you didn't pay for. So you don't get to use water, sewer, trash, and a fire department you didn't pay for like 25 years or whatever. It's longer than that.
That's so crazy to me, and I completely agree. So with like differing topics, with differing opinions, political views, obviously we got really political on here, which I absolutely love because I think it's an important issue. But we were kind of briefly talking about voting and, the people who think that you should vote a certain way. Like what's your like take on that?
So a lot of people think that I'm some crazy monster conservative who's out to convert them. And by all means, if conservatism works for you and if you believe in conservative values, please vote red. But if you're a hardcore liberal, I stand for that so hard. I
Yeah.
might make fun of you with my friends and be like, look at this guy. Lightly, no more than we'd make fun of each other. But I'm never gonna show up to a poll and be like, you better vote red and let me tell you why you should. My videos are not to convince you to vote red. My videos are
Yeah.
just to express myself and me and my friends on TikTok voting red and kind of presenting our hobby and guns and what our hobbies are. But I'm very much for people voting opposite of me, and that shocks them. when they're like, oh, so, well, will you be friends with a liberal? Absolutely. You gonna try to convert me? No, because that's how communism happens. I believe in a two-party system.
Yeah, no, and that's a great way to put it too. And the fact that I think that's the difference. I don't want to say everyone, because I think there are some crazy conservatives too out there. There's crazy everybody's, but we don't have the agenda of trying to convert you. What we're trying to do is make sure people know. People like I have freaking "We the People" on me tattooed. It's like that we are aware of what's happening, making you aware of actual facts. Like I'm a huge supporter and I love Steven Crowder. I'm sure you're probably familiar with him. I love his stuff because they're funny. Number one, I like
In
funny
that
stuff.
thought, because I have a really funny and important take after that thought.
Okay, yeah. So I was just gonna say I really like the wit and the humor, but also the fact that he's spitting facts and he always has references from liberal sites, from conservative, from everywhere. He always has references, and I think that's important. So, anyways, yes, your take now.
So that's the whole thing is that yeah, to be informed, and I want people to have all the information. I encourage
Yep.
them to read the bills. I'll link the bills, and I just want you to make an informed decision, no matter what that decision is.
Yeah.
Funny hot take though. So I promise I'm not indoctrinating my child. He watches what he watches on TV. Grandma and Grandpa watch a lot of Fox News.
Yeah.
I do try to persuade him to read different sources.
Yes.
My 8-year-old little boy was heartbroken when Tucker Carlson left Fox
Oh,
News.
I
He
love
told me
Tucker.
he called me one night and said, my Uncle Tucker's running for president. I said, I don't think you have an Uncle Tucker. Tucker Carlson. Okay. And he said also, China and the Russians want to kill us. All right, let's go play with Legos because world politics, it's a bit much. And then Tucker Carlson left news, and my boy was distraught. And he said, Mom, I'm going to donate my whole piggy bank for his salary.
Oh, what a sweet kid! Like you're raising us such a good boy. But no,
Which I
he's
have a video when he was like
yeah.
3 shouting Biden for president. And I was like, who are you?
Yeah. I mean, they get obviously kids are a product of their environment, but also he's able to think of his own things. If he's watching Tucker Carlson, now Tucker's doing amazing things too offline. And I
Yeah.
know like Steven Crowder had him on and things like that. I always loved how candid Tucker was. And again, Fox News is now like garbage for me. So that's why I watch the Steven Crowders. That's why I watch these normal people on like YouTube, Rumble, which Rumble is a great source because it's more conservative news and not censored. You're not going to get taken down for having a political view that's different. But I think it's important to kind of spread and Mark Dice was another one. I used to watch him a lot more. I don't see him as much anymore, but he's just a dude in his kitchen would spit facts and then go on like the boardwalks asking people like crazy questions that he either made up or they were real. And just the lack of knowledge of our people, like Americans today,
Yep.
is astounding.
Yes, and that's another great point. And I just talked to my sister about this. Despite how I act on TikTok, I'm actually very humble. I'm aware of the fact that I have some people kind of thirsty in my comments, and I know that's a fact, but I don't quite understand why. I don't look at those and be like, that's right, because I am hot and smart. Like I don't think that, guys. I really don't. I'm like, me? You're talking about me?
They're just
So
facts.
my awareness through this has been the amount of people that tell me, you're so articulate, you're so intelligent. I was not aware of that until people started talking about it. And I was like, well, isn't everyone like that? Doesn't everyone speak this way? And then I had this realization, hang on, if everyone spoke like you and I, they would be having these conversations, and they're not. So we are intelligent, but I don't think I'm intelligent more than average people in any way. I just think that I was taught to speak articulately. I was taught to send an email, to shake a hand, to look someone in the eye. And the younger generation beneath me, I know I sound like a boomer, isn't being taught that. So we set ourselves apart. Oh, you're so intelligent. Like, I think I'm pretty baseline. I just know how to talk to people and read.
Yeah, and I mean that's with our parents and like I grew up in a small town in New York, so I mean it's like it was church, it was again the shaking the hand, the opening the door, the holding the door for somebody, the looking in the eyes. It's a huge thing. It's our job to now pass that to the next generation. Like I'm a millennial technically, but I'm like I like to think I'm a little bit more old school with some stuff because that's how I was raised. And not everyone was raised the same. Like I was never privileged, as people say, just because I'm the color of my skin. I'm like, hell no. My parents were working like 2, 3 jobs each. I have 3 sisters. There's 4 of us. We were freaking low middle class. So like
I'm
I
gonna
know what
out
it's like.
myself here, but
Yeah.
I was in jail from the time I was 15 until I was 20. And I got sober when I was 20, and I'm 9 years sober now.
Wow. Well,
So like
congrats.
privilege where because I was out there
Yeah.
running those streets.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's you don't know like people know this much about you, but they think they know this much.
Yeah.
You know,
And
there's so much more to
TikTok,
everybody.
TikTok is this crazy thing that before I got political, I would just do silly skits and stuff. And I had so many women that I tried to date say, well, I know how you are on TikTok, and you have a big head, and you're full of yourself. And I would say, TikTok is literally someone playing a character when they're doing the skits, when they're singing something to the music.
Yeah.
Listen to what I have to say when I post a video talking. But if it's just music or something, just assume that it was kind of trending and I thought it was funny and on brand. But you won't go to your favorite actor, like you won't go to Tom Cruise and ask him why he doesn't act like Maverick. Because you know he's not Maverick, he's Tom Cruise. So why would you come to me and say, well, I know how you are, I see your TikToks. That's a part that I play, unless I'm actually speaking. To clarify, I believe in my political views and my speaking videos, but the stuff previous to that, I was just goofing off.
Yeah, and I think that's so important to differentiate too. People think that social media is like your actual life. Like some people are really vlogging their entire life. Like get ready with me. I'm like, no, who gives a
Oh,
shit?
God.
I'm like, I don't give a fuck about what the fuck oatmeal you ate. I don't
Wow.
care what.
Not me going live every night when I grill.
Well, it depends. Is it humorous? Like, is there some character to it? I'm like,
We
it
fingered
just
clams
depends.
the other day on live. There's a lot of
Oh,
clam
really?
fingering. Yeah, there's a lot of clam eating. There was a cold clam. There was a very hard like clam finger motions going on.
It was just the whole thing.
And now all these people are going to be like, "Wow, why don't I watch your live? You're fingering clams." It was
Yeah,
really
like you can't
seafood.
see this anywhere else, really.
It was seafood. Yeah.
That's funny. I mean, social media is just such a small portion of it. No matter how active you are on it. Same with, so me, I'm like heavier on Instagram. I'm trying to go back to TikTok. The reach is like a little bit better, kind of, except for lately for me, not so much. But it's like Instagram for me was where I started everything. So it's like everyone thinks, oh, all you do is model, all you do is this. And now I'm doing more podcasting stuff and clips
Do
like
you
that.
model?
I did. I'll have to send you my page. I've cleaned it up since because I too used to have a
Speaking
spicy
of that,
page.
I don't want to. Okay, so fun story about me going viral. I
Yeah.
know Chap Mark is going to see this. I'm so sorry, Chap. I've become friends with Chap Mark on TikTok. He is in the military, he's a chaplain, he's a godly man, and he is
Yeah.
hilarious. And he found me, and a lot of people that I followed and looked up to found me, and we started talking, and now we're friends, which is crazy because I'm like, I've loved you
Yeah.
for forever. Come here. So when I first went viral and didn't realize the impact, I had a spicy account linked to my Instagram, which was on my TikTok.
Yeah.
Chap is messaging me on TikTok. Hey, we should be friends. I'm kind of old school. I want to send voice messages. I'm going to shoot you a follow on Instagram. And it took about 3 minutes. Three was enough for me to go, oh, oh no. Oh no. The chaplain is currently viewing my spicy page. And
Oh, you're like, no.
and he's an older man, and he's
Like
a
delete, delete.
church person. And he sent me a message on Instagram, on that Instagram, and I was like, hey, slide over to my business page. And I told him what happened, and I was so embarrassed. And he said, I was wondering, but I wasn't going to say anything. I'm respectful.
Yeah.
I was like, pretend you didn't see it. I'm going to go pray.
I'm gonna go pray. Oh, I know. Like I got rid of mine fairly recent, not recently, I guess a few months ago. And that was because I'm moving towards bigger things. I'm like, there's a lot of whatever with that kind of stuff. Because there's a range of what you can be doing. I was not doing sex work or anything like that, but
Mhm.
some people do, and to each their own. I don't give a shit. You're not doing anything illegal. Who cares? Um, but there is like that connotation. I'm like, I'm trying to empower women in a different way.
Yeah.
And so and that's my goal. And I had a calling from God that's how I, feel it to be, that I want to talk to all these different women, all different backgrounds, get their stories out there, talk about literally anything under the sun, their lives, inspiration, empowerment, everything. And that just wasn't helping me
It can
get to
discredit
this.
you, fortunately.
Exactly. Which is sad, even with companies that want to work with you, brands, unless it's like, those brands that want all these sexy, sexy pictures, which is like, I love modeling. I really do. But there was a point when I'm like, okay, is that really what I want to be showcasing about myself? There's a lot more to
Yeah.
me. I have so much to give. And that was something
What's
I
your
had to do.
brand? Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, it's not that, it's the brain in my head. It's the heart
Yeah.
inside of me. And that's so I had to make that determination. But that's like it's a funny thing. And there's a lot of girls I'm friends with that do it. And I'm like, good for you. Like I support it, to support the hell out of it. I don't give a shit. Like I know you in real
Yeah.
life. Like I know you.
And for me, like I'm actively wife shopping. I say that all the time. I cycle
Yeah.
through women quickly because they're just not quite what I'm looking for, or I'm definitely not what they're looking for. And I have very
Yeah.
old school values. And one of those is that I don't want to have a spicy account if I have a serious partner. So why am I doing it now? And I don't want my partner to have a
Yeah.
spicy account. And I started to go back on those boundaries a little bit when women would be like, that's so controlling and that's possessive. And then I prayed on it and I thought about it. And I believe that there are things in a relationship that should be sacred for two people. And some people say man and a woman. I say whoever you love, but I don't
Yeah.
believe in this poly stuff for me
Yeah.
personally.
I'm a
I believe
monogamous as
two
well.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, monogamous to a fault. And when I tell women, like, I wouldn't be comfortable with you having a spicy account, they lose it and they're done. And you're controlling because that's what they're being taught, right? You're trying to stifle my freedoms. No, I'm just
Yeah.
asking if you are interested in the same kind of relationship I am. And if you're not, you'll find somebody who's okay with it. And that's the kind of
Yeah.
relationship they want. I don't. So dating for me is no right now. It's the pool is like the ocean, and then you turn that I'm conservative, and the pool turns into a lake, and then I have old school values, and now it's a puddle. And then I travel for work and I'm never home, and now that puddle is one little drop of water, and that's my dating pool.
It's not much better on this end either. So it's okay. I've been on my own for like the last over 5 years. And it's
Wow.
like dating fails. I mean, and the thing is, because again, I have boundaries and I was not good at having them, which is why some of these crappy relationships didn't work out, or even not even didn't even get to the relationship stage. It was just like a dating or
Yeah.
talking to or whatever. I'm like, it's just such a different world. And the people are just, men and women are just very different now. It's harder to find people unless you're on all these dating apps, which I tried and I'm like, barf, I hate it. Literally hate
Yeah,
it.
no. And for the women's side, and I just made a video about this and deleted it because I could not deal with the comments. I was not mentally there. Women are toxically independent now. We've encouraged them to this, right? Be a boss
Yeah.
bitch, be independent. But what I'm finding is these women that are toxically independent don't make any room for me at their table. So they're saying, what do you bring to the table? And I'm like, oh, I got you. Quality time, words of affirmation, gift giving, acts of service. I will fly to you and mow your lawn right now. Oh, that
Sign me
makes me
up.
uncomfortable. Like,
Someone
that
needs to
makes
mow
me
my damn lawn.
uncomfortable. I
Yeah.
don't like that. I'm independent because they're afraid of
Yeah.
being let down. And that's fine, but don't come to me and say, I'm ready to date
You're
when you
not.
know this about yourself and your table is already full. You provide everything for yourself. You don't need me. You're going to constantly remind me you don't need me. So stay single. Don't date because you enjoy being independent. Independence is great, but not all codependence is toxic. You're supposed to lean on each other. And I don't have a purpose or a value in this relationship if you're not letting me have one. You're not letting me bring you anything. And if your friends have the same value as me, I want premium access to you. I want what your friends don't have, what your family doesn't have, aside from your kids. I want
Mm-hmm.
premium access to your life, and you can have it to mine. And they're like, oh, no, no, that's scary. I just want a companion. Get a dog.
Yeah. Get a fish. Get something. Get a hobby. But yeah, it's the same thing for me. And actually, I am a severely independent person. However, when I go out in the dating pool, I tell them, I'm like, I have heavy masculine energy because I'm the provider, I'm the protector. I said, I need someone to come into my life that brings out the feminine part, the part where I can now rely on someone. I can trust them with things. I can let down that guard of masculinity because I don't need to be everything. I said, right now I have to be because I have my kid to take care of. I said, but that's what I need to be demasculinized, you could say. And that's just the
Mhm.
energy,
Oh,
feminine
but you
and
can't say that anymore. That's anti-feminism and bringing the movement down.
fuck feminism.
And
I'm
that's
so-
where I'm put into a box a lot of being masculine because I dress masculine. And like, I hate to
yeah.
break everyone's hearts. I say it all the time. I'm a bottom all day. I'm a big baby mask bottom. I want to be treated like a girl. I'll kill the bugs. I'll do the house chores. I'll open doors. Other than that, I'm a big baby. Like I'm a girl, and women, especially newly out
Yeah.
women, want basically a dude with girl parts. And like I'm a girl. That's not me, and it's an extreme letdown for them when they expect masculine energy, lack of emotion, tough and gruff, and I'm just like,
Then date a dude.
"Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo."
Yeah. I know. It's such an interesting dynamic. And I think dating in general now for anybody in whatever orientation is just difficult because people are just in their own, we're in very selfish bubbles these days and nobody knows what they want. And the few that do, it's like, oh my God, how long literally? People are like, oh, just be patient. It'll happen when you least expect it. I'm like, really? Because it's been fucking
Oh,
half a decade.
I hate hearing that so much. And I'm like,
I'm like,
shut up.
I'm like, so I'll
Or
just be
you're
alone
desperate to
forever.
be in a relationship. I'm not. I'm just very quick and very forward with the people
I
I'm
just know
talking
what
to.
I
We're
want.
talking like, yeah, and if we're
Yeah.
talking for a week, I'm like, cool, what do you want for your future? How do you see me in your future?
Yeah.
Would you like to meet up because I'll get on a plane? Yo, that's scary and you're moving too fast. No, I'm just trying to figure it out so I don't have to cycle through here. I'm speed dating.
Yeah.
But
Can we coexist in the same place for, more than a week and
But a
live and
lot of people
survive?
want a texting buddy. They want you to make them feel
Ugh.
good. They want to text from afar. And when I get out of this box, that's their phone screen, they're like, "Oh, you're real." To flip topics a little bit, to go back to something you said a minute ago,
Yeah.
no matter what gender you're in, right? They're now saying a lesbian is defined as any non-man. That's the definition. So we don't get to be women anymore. We're non-men,
Non-men.
non-man attracted to a woman.
Okay. I mean, women is literally as men in it, but I mean, I don't know, whatever.
And that's my argument on sports. We know transgender people, give them their own sport, give them their own team. I'm all
Hell
for
yeah.
that, and I really don't care what bathroom they use. It's not important to me personally, but
Yeah.
just
But
because
for
I like to
kids,
pee in the
yeah.
bathroom sometimes, because I'm like, I don't want to lose the right to pee in the man's bathroom, but I will if I have to.
Yeah.
Um, and give them their own team, but stop erasing women from sports they've excelled at because you're entering men into the competition.
Losing scholarships. I mean, kids that have worked their asses off. I can't imagine if it was happening when I was in high school. Not that I was ever an athlete. People are like, you weren't an athlete? I'm like, no, I wasn't. I became one later. But it's like if I were like really good at something, I would have been really pissed off if a dude essentially comes in here who's just newly transitioned and just takes the title and the scholarship and the everything.
If I live in a tiny house, but it is not yet a tiny house. Right now, it's just a shed. So there's not much to show in there. So I hang out in my friend's garage when I do stuff like this. Um, and my thing with that is this: I have worked my ass off to have the shed, and I pay rent. I pay $500 a month to lease my shed. And 3 years
Yeah,
from now, I won't have a house payment.
there you
So
go.
it's people say, well, you've had it since October. Why haven't you built anything in it? Well, because I'm paying rent. I'm paying my friend electrical,
Yeah,
living there, and paying to own the shed that will eventually be my house. So that's one of those things that I refuse to take help from anyone. I'm working on doing it myself. And I refuse to pay rent or pay a crazy mortgage when I can have a tiny house in 3 years. But I might have to live in a shed with nothing in it until that point.
it's called minimalism.
That's trending, and I make it work, and nobody can take it from me, and nobody can say I take handouts because I'm paying for it myself, and
Hmm.
I am doing something, and I'm making
Yeah.
payments on time, and it's going to be really cool when I have it. Just other
Hmm.
people can't see your vision, and you're living in it, and I'm making sacrifices for it. I use the bathroom in my friend's garage. I shower at the gym. I cook on the grill, and I sacrifice so that in 3 years I can eat whatever I want in my own house.
There you go. See, that's awesome though. I mean, it's a story in itself that you get to look back on. That you built this thing. Like, I mean, the house I'm in now is like from the 1960s or something. But I don't care. I love it. It's my first house. I bought it by myself, and I'm like, I'm proud of myself. I'm like, it
Yeah.
took a long time, and finally, I'm in a place I was able to give my son a backyard and everything, and I'm like, cool. But again, it took sacrifice. We were living in like crappy apartments for a long time, in sketch places. So it's like
I,
it's your own journey, it's your own story.
I literally moved to Florida with $100 in my pocket.
Hmm.
So that's
And
another really cool. I was on tour I passed through Daytona. I said, hey, it's warm here and I like it. Wisconsin's cold. I think I'm going to live here. And I grabbed my doggo and my car and 3 suitcases and hit the road. Um, I was expecting a check from Tour in the amount of $4,000 by the time I hit Florida 23 hours later. And the check didn't come.
Ooh.
And they forgot to pay me. And now I'm in Florida with 3 suitcases and a car. And I've done this to myself. So what am I going to do? And I ended up on the right lawn. That's literally what it is. Someone introduced me to my good friends, Melissa and Jonathan. They believed in me. They said, you can rent our RV. We don't know you from Adam, and we trust you're going to pay us. And a week later, I did. I bought the RV. I went back on tour. While I was on tour, Hurricane Ian hit, ruined the RV. Came home back at square one, but this time I had more than $100.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, like, what are we doing here? And I invested in this RV that is now gone, essentially kind of homeless. And that's when Melissa told me to buy the tiny house and put it on their property, and we would figure it out. And
that's amazing.
We're figuring it out.
That's amazing. I mean, being put on the path, like I think you meet people for a reason, you know, whether God sends it or whatever you believe. But see, that's amazing. And I'm sure, I don't know if a lot of people know that about you, like that piece of your story, but it really is inspiring too, you know, that it's.
You know, and I've been accused of taking handouts or being broke because I live in a shed or using my friends. And
yeah.
Y'all have no idea the struggle and the sacrifice that I made when I made the choice to move to Florida, and how much I really have been doing it on my own. And the one video that I said we weren't going to talk about that I can mention a couple things about it around it is like a lot of people say, oh, you just want unemployment check. You just want to go fund me. I'm like, no, I'm a Republican. I want to go to work. I'm bored. I need to be providing for myself.
Yeah. Love that. But I know it's getting late and I do appreciate your time, but let everyone know where they can find you on TikTok and your TikTok and anything else that you want them to know about upcoming.
My TikTok is I Lift for Donuts. Merch link is in my bio. It's not fully set yet. We just got a couple stickers. It's kind of a beta program. And I will be featured on the Normal Guys podcast here July 13th. Very excited to hang out with those dudes. You would love them.
Yeah.
If you have a chance, you should actually come to town. I don't know what your travel ability is.
I do go to Florida a lot. So
like, I'll text you because you would love these dudes.
Yeah, no, so absolutely.
Podcast July 13th.
I might be there for the 14th. I'm doing some boxing stuff in Fort Lauderdale. I don't know how far you are from that.
Like 6 hours. I'm near Daytona. Yeah. So on the 13th, they're coming in.
I can make it like a long. I was going to do a long weekend because I'm doing something with another chick who is on the podcast. So I can make it a long little thing because my son's dad actually lives in Florida. So I'm back and forth to Florida a decent amount.
Tell everyone you're coming to Florida to see 2 girls. And that just sounds like the gayest thing you've ever done.
Whatever.
We are indoctrinating the other people.
There we go. But I do appreciate you coming on, Andrea. If you guys have not checked out her TikTok, you should. It's funny, it's educational, and it's something that I stand behind. So I'm glad that we connected. Random as fuck, but I love it. So thank you for coming on.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm pruning my dog right now. He has
That's okay.
I don't know what, probably a tick, and I'm obsessing over it. Thank you so much. It's been so fun. I just shoot you a text.
Absolutely. And everyone, thanks for listening to Risk Valor. Be adaptable, be reckless, be your fucking self.